Welcome everybody, my name's Ed Durbis. This is 93 Driving. Today we're driving a 2017 Tesla Model S 90D with 691 horsepower and 713 pounds of torque, and we'll get it from 0 to 60 in just 3.8 seconds for a car that weighs about 4,800 pounds. In 2017, its first year, Tesla did do a few tweakings in the design of the car. We'll talk about this later. So let's see what this Model S has to offer, and let's get this show on the road. Okay, now that we're inside the Model S, ready to go get this show on the road, first of all, the screen. You control basically everything from this. You just go tap it there, and then you have all the controls that you want. We're at 33% charge. There's your autopilot, your vehicle, lights, displays, navigation. Everything you really need to control is right here. Just hit the little card button again, you're back to the main screen. The center screen doesn't give you that much information, so it just gives you a small layout. So let's get the show on the road. All right, here we go, driving the Model S 90D. You know, it's pretty quiet. There's a little bit of noise coming in. Obviously, being a 2017, I was really curious to see exactly how the materials in this car had actually stand up the time. So far, it's pretty good. I mean, there's a little bit of wear and tear here and there, but nothing really crazy. Funny to see all the switch gears for the windows, and even for the switching the gears, windshield wipers. It all looks, it comes out straight out of a Mercedes-Benz parts, and that's probably because they're using the same manufacturer Mercedes does to manufacture their switches. But other than that, the wood seems nice. It does seem a little bit on the fake side. Alcantara everywhere. The leather feels good, nice and soft. The leather on the seats, it's got the beige interiors. They seem pretty good. They're held up pretty well. The driver's seat is a little more wear and tear, obviously, so that's where everybody spends most of the time. So overall, it's been, you know, it rides very smoothly. It's quiet. There's a little bit of noise, like I mentioned just earlier, but nothing really that gets in the way. If you were listening to music, you wouldn't even realize that was going on. So visibility is pretty good. If you look back, you have a pretty strong A pillar. The B pillar is a little thicker, because we do have a lot of glass, so we do need a little bit of more rigidity for that. Looking back, looks fine. There's a little bit, due to this is a hatchback, you do compromise a little bit of the view in the back, the way it's slant back, and the headrest, the middle headrest is quite large, so it does get in a little bit in the way. Driving feel, obviously, it's you being an electric car, you got to get used to that feeling that when you lift off the accelerator or power boost, whatever you want to call it, the feedback when you pull it out and the car starts braking itself to start generating a lot of power, it's something to get used to. Obviously, this car, you can come to a complete halt on its own if you just let off the gas, and you can control how much braking it does give you through the huge navigation, entertainment system, and screen that controls basically everything in this car. So that takes a little bit of time to get used to, but once you get used to it, it's not that intrusive. But we're at 30% range, and that's where you start feeling like, you gotta start thinking and planning your trips. So we'll get back to that in just a minute. All right, let's see what she's like from 0 to 60. Wow. Wow. If that was not the most disappointing takeoff, I don't know what is. We did throttle all the way down, and it just kind of lingered a little bit and was debating about going. I don't know about that 3.8 seconds to 60. So let's open a little bit of space and see what happens when we do it again. Yeah, it's, you know, it's quick, but it's not lightning fast as you would read on all the publications, and just the feel of it. It doesn't give you that gave us in the other electric car, be it the Mercedes EQS and even the Tesla Model 3 with the dual motor. Yeah, quite disappointing. So there you have it. Okay, down our favorite twisty road. Let's see what this Model S has to offer. Not a lot of feedback coming from the steering or the brakes. And yes, you get that, you know, as soon as you take the throttle off, you start braking. Here's where it becomes a little bit intrusive, because you want to be able to have the car be able to just roll, keep rolling at that speed. But it's staying pretty flat. And the brakes do come on, and even after you let them, obviously the car's still braking itself to try to generate some power for the batteries. Yeah, there, you know, right there, like, you know, you let off the throttle, you want to be able to continue that momentum, but it doesn't let you do that. But overall, it's staying pretty flat. The seats are pretty comfortable. Going up the hill. Not bad. Right there, we did feel a little bit of that weight. Yeah, overall, I think it handled pretty well, except for the fact of that lack of being able to let off the throttle and just continue the momentum through the turns instead of having to, you know, the car braking itself. It takes a little bit of the joy out of it. So obviously it's not a sports sedan. This car is more meant to be able to cruise on the highway. And yeah, with the power that it has, you can easily do triple digits. Yeah, with a range of 294 miles until next time you need to charge it. Yeah. Alright, heading back. And my final thoughts on the Tesla Model S. You know, I have to say that in regards of storage, due to the fact that it's a hatchback and you have the frunk, and you know, obviously you got plenty of stuff to carry in the back, plenty of stuff you can carry in the front, you know, plenty of room to carry 5 people without a problem. Yeah, it cruises just perfectly fine down the highway, soaks up the bumps pretty well. We just saw that even on a twisty road, it does well. I mean, obviously, it doesn't encourage you to go. It doesn't really excite you as much as say a combustion engine car would. The sound, and then you also have the braking where you can't take that speed around a turn, so that kind of gets in the way of the enjoyment. But you know, and even when we did that standstill from 0 with the claims of numbers of 3.8 to 60, to tell you honest, I don't have a G-box, so I can't really say exactly, but to feeling, and from other electric cars that I've driven, like I said, like the Mercedes EQS 0-60 3.3 and the Model 3 dual motor, same thing with a 4-second range to 60 or so. You know, those cars felt much quicker than this car, and to be completely frank with you, that was another disappointing aspect of it. Quality-wise with this car, the quality, it looks to be it's held up pretty well. Obviously, the car's about 5 years old now, so it's held up well. The materials are still looking fine. But you can tell there's still a few areas where you can tell where they've cut corners. But for a car that is originally had a price tag at $90,000. You know, certain plastic items like the bins, you can hear that. That's just plain plastic. A little bit of plastic on the steering wheel as well. But the materials you touched on a regular basis, the door sills, the door panels, the leather steering, the Alcantara, all those feel really well. Funny enough, even the seatbelt, the material seatbelt actually does not feel high-end quality for a $90,000 car. So, and there's a few things that if you start looking when you open the hatchback in the back and you start looking at how the car was manufactured, you can tell there's a few little things there that is not 100% at a price point of $90,000. But overall, I think the quality is pretty good and it's held up pretty well. So I think that in that regards, it's yeah, it's a good compelling price if you're looking for a used Model S at half the price now. But yeah, and the other thing, you know, like I mentioned, I only had 30% charge when I took the car out for a drive, and I've been driving for the last 3 hours. I've had it, and we're down to about 24%. So that's, you got to start thinking about, you know, where you're going and where can you charge it. But obviously, you can charge it, supercharge it. Yeah, it's not a big deal. You just need to know exactly where you're heading. But those are my thoughts. I hope everybody enjoyed this video. If you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe. I know subscriptions are going up. Thank you so much. Comment. I do appreciate the comments. I've read all the comments are coming through. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. I promise you that. I hope everybody's having a fantastic day. As always, thumbs up, turn notification bell on, so you know when the next video is coming up. And you know, it's a beautiful day here in Washington, D.C. And if you've never been here in the fall, I do recommend coming here. It's absolutely beautiful. And today is in November, and it's in the mid-70s. Go figure. Last week it was freezing. So don't forget to follow my good friend JT over at jt.benz. You can also follow me at ed.durbis at Instagram as well. Thank you so much. This is 9 and 3 Driving. I came to see you guys in the next video. Until then,